Okay, let's start the review for exam 3. So the first question is find the domain of these rational functions. Whenever we talk about functions, domain is our concern. Okay, so domain means what kind of value for x work for this function. So for rational functions, we consider the denominator. Okay, because the variable happens in the denominator. So sometimes the value of x could cause the denominator to be 0, which is a no in mathematics, right? So we just take the denominator and we say, okay, x minus 4 cannot be 0, not equal to 0. Then add 4 on both sides, that's x not equal to 4. And sometimes we want to use interval notation. So this would be set notation, x not equal to 4. If you were asked to use interval notation, we say, okay, x can be any value other than 4. So we use this close parentheses and open parentheses to avoid 4 in the set of all real numbers. So this means all real numbers but 4. Well, B is a little bit complicated because we need to, because it's a quadratic. Right? We need to solve for x. So we also see this cannot be 0 because in mathematics, we don't divide anything by 0. We need how to solve quadratic equation. We need to put it into factored form. Think about 2 factors of A adds up to be positive 6. So that has to be 2 and 4. So this is not equal to 0. By 0 property, this is saying each factor cannot be 0. So x plus 2 cannot be 0. X plus 4 cannot be 0. Oh, this is a plus. Solve the first one. You see, okay, x cannot be negative 2. The second one, x cannot be negative 4. All right, set notation. If we want to use interval notation, we say, okay, x can be any real number. We go with a small one because negative 4 is smaller than negative 2. Union from negative 4 up to negative 2. Union from negative 2 up to infinity. Right, so this is also saying x can be all real numbers, but negative 4, but negative 2. So same thing for C. We say, we take the denominator, we say, okay, that cannot be 0. Then we put it in a factored form. In this case, is x minus 2 squared cannot be 0. That means x cannot be 2. Set notation, use the interval notation. That means x can be all real numbers, but 2. Last one, well, this x cannot be 0, right? That's it. Use the interval notation, negative infinity, up to 0, union from 0 up to positive infinity. Okay, let's see a second type. We want to simplify rational expressions. To simplify rational expressions, we need to put the numerator and denominator into factored form. The numerator is the difference of 2 squares, right? Because 16 is a 4 square, difference of 2 squares. So that can be factored as x plus 4, x minus 4. And the denominator can be factored. Think about the 2 factors of negative 12 adds up to be negative 1. That have to be x minus 4, x plus 3. Because minus 4 plus 3, that's negative 1, right? So then we see in the denominator, we'll have x minus 4 as a factor. In the numerator, we'll have x minus 4 as a factor. So left with x plus 4 divided by x plus 3. simplified. We cannot simplify further because we see we have linear factor in the numerator and in the denominator. For the second one, the numerator we can factor out maybe -2. Let's factor out -2. Then -2x, x inside the parentheses, and -7 inside the parentheses, right? In this case, if we distribute -2, we still have -2x and +14. The denominator we factor out x, then we also have x -7. So now we have a common factor in the numerator and in the denominator, x -7 divided by x -7. That becomes 1. So left with a -2 over x. 3, the numerator we think about the 2 factors of -34 adds up to be -15, or that's x -17 times x plus 2. Right? Because 2 times -17 is -34. -17 plus 2, that's -15. And the denominator will factor out a 3. Then we'll have x squared minus 4. Well, x squared minus 4, again, is the difference of 2 squares. It's x minus 2, x plus 2. Now, the numerator in factored form, denominator in factored form, and they have a common factor of x plus 2. So that's simplified. So we have x minus 17 left in the numerator. We have 3 times x minus 2 in the denominator. Well, let's see this one. The numerator will have -3x squared plus 20x plus 7. Usually maybe you want to factor out -1, right? To have the leading term to be positive. Then this becomes a negative. Then this becomes a negative. Right? So let's do that. Let's factor out -1, then think about the 2. How do we play with 3 and 7? Factors of 3 and 7 to get -20. Well, I want 3 times 7. So what I'm going to do is 3x and 7. So in this case, if I put a 7 in the same parentheses, 3 and 7 won't get multiplied. So I want to put them in different parentheses. So 3 times 7 will give me 21x. And I have a middle term to be -20, so I know this is a -7. This is 3x, so this has to be x. Then -7 plus 1, right? Because +1 times -7 gives me -7. Now +1 times x, +1x, -21x adds up to be -20x. Similarly, the denominator, I want to factor out 2x and x. Think about the 2 factors of -21. Somehow multiply with the 2 to get -11. Well, we have 3 and 7, right? Yes. So we have 3 and 7, but 1 is negative. Because the middle term is negative, so I want the 7 to be negative. Because then I do 2x times -7, get -14x. Then plus 3x. That's a -11x. Okay. Now the numerator in factored form, denominator in factored form, x minus 7 divided by x minus 7 becomes 1. So this negative sign we want to put up front. So I have a -3x plus 1 divided by 2x plus 3. You see, when I have some other terms together, I put parentheses around. When I only have 3x plus 1 as a factor, I don't need a parentheses. Same thing for 2x plus 3. All right, 3, we want to perform the operation, right? In this case, the operation is multiplication. So we want to put everything in factored form again, because only in factored form we can cancel the common factors of numerator and denominator. Because this is multiplication, so I just multiply numerator with the numerator and denominator with the denominator, right? I like to put the parentheses around and also put them in a factored form. Well, let's factor x squared minus ax plus 12. Well, that's x minus 2 and x minus 6, right? Because negative 2 times negative 6, that's positive 12. Negative 2 plus negative 6, that's negative 8, middle term. And for the 4x plus 16, I want to factor out 4. Then I have x plus 4 left inside. Denominator, x squared minus 16 is difference of two squares. That's x minus 4 times x plus 4. X squared minus 4x minus 4, that's x minus 2 times x minus 2, which is, or you can write as x minus 2 squared. Now let's look for common factors in the numerator and in the denominator. I see x minus 2 in the numerator, x minus 2 in the denominator. I see x plus 4 in the numerator, x plus 4 in the denominator. And that's it, no more, right? So the numerator, I'm left with 4 times x minus 6. The denominator, I'm left with x minus 4 times x minus 2. And then you can leave like this, okay? You can leave like this. So nothing to be simplified, and that's it. Let me move up my slides. Now let's see B. B, 9 minus x squared. Again, 9 is 3 squared. So we can factor out as 3 minus x, 3 plus x. Then 3x plus 9, we can factor out 3. So I have x plus 3. The denominator, x squared plus 6x plus 9, is x plus 3 times x plus 3. Or x plus 3 squared. 3x minus 9, you factor out 3, we have x minus 3. Now let's see. I have 3 plus x is same as x plus 3, so those two canceled. Then x plus 3 again, 3 and 3. So I'm left with 3 minus x in the numerator and x minus 3 in the denominator. Now let's look at those two. So the numerator, I can factor out negative sign or negative 1. I can write x minus 3 inside the parentheses. If I multiply negative sign, distribute negative sign, I still get a negative x and positive 3. So then in the denominator, I have x minus 3. So now these two canceled. So I'm left with negative 1. Now C is division. So division, we want to change to be multiplication. Then take an inverse of the second one. So the numerator of x now becomes a denominator because I changed the division into multiplication. Then x squared minus 1, that's difference of two squares. So x plus 1 times x minus 1 now in the numerator. So 1 plus x is the same as x plus 1. Well, this x cancel this square because x squared is x times x. So 1x cancel with this x. So now we're left. So denominator, I have nothing but a 1. So numerator, I'm left with x times x minus 1. Same thing for this one. The first one, we just rewrite it. X squared minus 4, that's difference of two squares. X minus 2, x plus 2. Change the division into multiplication, flip over the numerator and denominator. So now the denominator becomes a numerator. So that can be factored as x minus 3, x plus 2. Because negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6, negative 3 plus 2 is plus 3 minus 2. Because the middle term is positive 1x. Then the numerator now becomes denominator. So that's x plus 3 squared or x plus 3 times x plus 3. Now we see a common factor of those two canceled. The x minus 2 x minus 2 canceled. So we're left with 1 in the numerator and x plus 2 times x plus 3 in the denominator. Okay, that's D. C is addition. Well, with addition, we need a common denominator. Right? So let's just factor out first. So the numerator is 5x minus 1. The denominator we can factor out as x minus 1 and x minus 2. Plus, numerator is 3. Denominator we can factor out 2. So we have x minus 2. Well, now let's figure out the least, the common denominator. In this case would be 2, x minus 2, then x minus 1, right? Let me change my color. So the denominator needs to have 3 factors, 2x minus 2, x minus 1. So this one we need 2. So we're going to multiply by 1. This one is 2 over 2. And this one needs x minus 1. So we're going to multiply x minus 1 over x minus 1. Now we have common denominator. So once we have a common denominator, we only have to write it once. Now we add the numerators. So the numerators will have 2 times 5x, which is 10x. 2 times negative 1, negative 2. Plus 3 times x, 3x. 3 times negative 1, negative 3. So then the denominator, right, the numerator will have 10x plus 3x, that's 13x. Negative 2 minus 3, that's minus 5. Right, just rewrite the denominator here. Well, F is a subtraction. So we're gonna do something similar, but we subtract the numerators. So first we need to find the common denominator. So we put them in the factored form, x minus 2, x plus 1. Numerator x plus 3. The second one we factor out as x minus 2, x plus 2. No, 2x minus 1. Well, the least common denominator would be x minus 2, x plus 1, and x plus 2, right? So let me change my color. So that means I need to multiply by 1 with the first one, which is x plus 2. Divide itself. When I multiply by 2 terms, I give parentheses. And this one, I'm missing x plus 1. So I multiply x plus 1, divide itself. Now I have a common denominator. I don't have to write twice. I only write it once. X minus 2, x plus 2, and x plus 1. Now I perform the operation subtraction with the numerator. So let's multiply. So I have x plus 3 times x plus 2. That's x squared plus 5x plus 6. Then minus, well, because I minus more than 1 term, so I give parentheses. I have 2x squared. Then 2x times 1, 2x, and then negative 1x. So add together to the plus 1x. Then minus 1 times positive 1, that's minus 1. Now the denominator, okay, same denominator. X squared minus 2x squared is negative x squared. 5x minus x, that's 4x. 6 minus negative 1 becomes 6 plus 1 becomes 7. Well, can this be factored? No. Why? Because 7 is a prime. Can only be factored as 1 and 7. The difference between 1 and 7 is 6. The sum of 1 and 7 is 8, but the middle term is 4. So we know that the denominator just this one, right? We read under here. Well, let's see G. G, we have 3 terms, but these all have the same denominator already. So we just perform the operation in terms of the numerator. So the denominator is just x plus 3. The numerator will have x squared, right? X squared, that's just 1x squared. Now that let's look for the x term. We have 5x minus 4x, that becomes 1x, plus 7x, that's 8x. Right? Then the number will have 1 minus -5, become 1 plus 5, 6, plus 9, 6 plus 9, 15. Now, can we factor the numerator? Yes. 2 factors of 15 adds up to be 8. Well, that's x plus 3 and x plus 5. Divided by x plus 3. Well, x plus 3 divided by x plus 3 becomes 1. So I'm left with x plus 5. Well, let's see h. H, let's put in the factored form. Look at the denominator. We have x minus 2, x plus 2. We have x minus 1, x minus 2. We have x plus 2, x minus 1. Now the common denominator is x minus 2, x plus 2, and x minus 1. Right? Okay, let me change my color. So the first one, I'm missing x minus 1. So I'm going to multiply x minus 1 in the numerator and x minus 1 in the denominator. The second one, I'm missing x plus 2. So I'm going to multiply x plus 2 in the denominator and x plus 2 in the numerator. The third one, I'm missing x minus 2. So I'm going to multiply x minus 2 in the numerator and in the denominator. Now I have a common denominator. I only have to write it once. X minus 1, x minus 2, and x plus 2. The numerator I have x minus 1 times 2x. I get 2x squared. Minus 1 times 2x is a minus 2x. Then minus 1 times x plus 2, just x plus 2. Then plus x plus 1 times x minus 2, that's x squared minus x minus 2. Okay, so again, the denominator is the same. Okay, so you write this denominator down here. I have 2x squared plus x squared, so those two terms. That's a 3x squared. I have negative 2x minus x, that's a minus 3x, minus another x, so minus 4x. The numbers I have negative 2, right? You see this negative sign here, negative 2, minus 2, that's negative 4. Now, can I simplify the numerator? So I have 3x x. Now this one is negative 4. Negative 4 can be negative 2 and positive 2. Right? So the middle term is a negative 4x. So if I put a negative 2 here and positive 2 here, you see I have 3x times negative 2, I get negative 6x. Then I have 2x, so adds up to be negative 4x. So this can be factored as this. Now the denominator, I have x minus 1, x minus 2, and x plus 2. Do you see the common factor of x minus 2? So that cancel out. So numerator, I'm left with 3x plus 2. The denominator, I have x minus 1 times x plus 2 left. Okay. Let's see, 4. Okay, 4, we have 2 layers of division. So one way is this. One way is we can multiply by the least common denominator. We see x squared, we see 64, we see a, we see x. Let's just multiply 64x squared. Divides itself. Right? So that means 1 over x squared times 64x squared minus 1 over 64 times 64x squared. Basically, the 4 terms, every term multiplied by 64x squared. 1 over a times 64x squared plus 1 over x times 64x squared. Now, let me change my color to see the consolation. So this 64x squared is numerator. If you want, you can put it over 1 here, okay, to remind yourself that's a numerator. So we're looking for common factors in the numerator and in the denominator to cancel out. So we see x squared in the numerator, x squared in the denominator. So I'm left with a 64. We see 64 in the denominator, 64 in the numerator. We're left with x squared. Now the denominator, we see a cancel out 64 to be ax squared. So ax squared. X cancel with 1 of x squared, so I have 64x plus 64x. And that's it. Yeah. Because the numerator and denominator have no common factors. Oh no, that still have one more common factors. 64 is a squared. So the numerator can simplify to be a difference of 2 squares, a plus x, a minus x. And the denominator, number a, x, is a common factor, right? Then we have x plus 8. So x plus a is the same as a plus x. So in the end, this is simplified to be a minus x divided by ax. All right. If you want to keep simplifying, you can write it as a divided by ax, that's a 1 over x. X divided by ax, that's 1 over 8. So simplify to be this. That's 8. Now let's see B. B, C, D. So we're gonna do the same thing for this. You can simplify the numerator first, then simplify the denominator first. Okay, you can do that. So I see the denominator, I have x minus 1, x plus 2, and 3 minus x. So I'm going to multiply the denominator and numerator with that. So x minus 1, x plus 2, and the 3 minus x. That's my least common denominator of all the denominators. So I'm going to do the same for the denominators. So now let's look at the first term. The first term multiplied by this, we see x minus 1 canceled, right? So left with 3 times x plus 2 times 3 minus x. And then let's the second term. The second term, I'm left x plus 2 cancel with x plus 2. So I have 6 times x minus 1 times 3 minus x. The denominator, this term multiplied by this, I have 6 times x minus 1, 3 minus x. And then this one times this, that's minus sign. So this is a minus. Minus 3 times x minus 1, x plus 2. All right, let's do some simplification. Let me change my color to be blue. So I see these two terms, I have a common factor of 3 minus x, 3 minus x, right? And then also 3 is a common factor, right? Because 6 is a 3 times 2. So let's factor out 3 times 3 minus x in the numerator. Then we're left the first one with x plus 2. Plus the second one we're left with 2 times x minus 1. Or 2 times x, 2x. 2 times negative 1, negative 2. Denominator, we're going to do the same thing. So 3 is a common factor, right? Then x minus 1 is a common factor. So we factor out the 3, x minus 1. Then we have 2 times 3 minus x left. 2 times 3, 6. 2 times negative x, negative 2x. Oops, no parentheses yet. Minus x plus 2, right? So that's minus x minus 2. Simplify this. So 3 over 3, that becomes 1. Okay. Then I have 3 minus x. So x, this x plus this 2x, I have 3x. Positive 2 minus 2 becomes 0. Denominator, I have x minus 1. Then I have 6 minus 2, that's 4. I have 2x minus x, that's a minus 3x. Now, do I have common factors? No more common factors in the numerator and in the denominator, right? And if you want, you can end here. Or if you, by convention, usually we write it like this. We write 3x before 3 minus x. Then the denominator will write the same. Okay, that's B. Now let's look at C. C, we're going to do the same. The denominator is only x minus 4. So we're going to multiply x minus 4, divide itself. Right, that's multiplied by 1. Then 3 times x minus 4, so 3 times x minus 4. Then this term times x minus 4, just minus 2. 5 times x minus 4, 5 times x minus 4. Then this term times this, just plus 4. The numerator, denominator canceled, right? X minus 4 here in the denominator, x minus 4 in the numerator, they cancel each other. So now let's simplify a little bit. So 3x minus 12 minus 2. We have 5x minus 20 plus 4. That's 3x minus 14. The 5x minus 16. Well, that nothing can be simplified further. This one, x squared y, xy squared, x squared y squared, xy. So we're going to multiply x squared y squared. Divides itself. Then x squared y cancel, so we'll have 5y. 5 times y. Minus 2 times x. Divided by 3 plus 4xy. That's it. Right? You can do step by step. I just skip the intermediate step. Right? I just perform the cancellation. Let's just do one. So when I multiply this one with this one, you see x squared canceled, right? Y cancel with 1 with a square. So I'm left with y. 5 times y, I have 5y. And that's it. Nothing can be simplified further. So I'm going to keep doing this, but now let me just take a break.